الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وبعد. When someone compares the size of Palestine, the state of Israel, to the Arab world, let alone the Muslim world, they will find that the size of Israel, Palestine, is very small compared to the Arab world, and yet the Arabs cannot seem to defeat Israel. The Arabs, or many of them, have repeated the idea that the Jews are in control. They act like if Israel is a superpower that interferes in every conflict on the face of the earth. In fact, they say that any conflict that starts on the face of the earth, they say Israel is behind it, the Jews are behind it, and that the Jews, are everywhere. Let's talk about that. You see, if you go to a tribe in the middle of the jungle, the rainforest, and that tribe has not been exposed to modern day civilization, as they call it, and give them the kind of money, men and women, support, technology, intelligence that the Jews are getting, then that tribe will be a superpower too in its own area. It's not about the Jews. I mean, many Arabs and Muslims keep saying that the Israelis control the West. Let's analyze that. The West has been fanatically supporting the Jews for decades, with men and women, billions and billions of dollars, support throughout the world, and they take their side in any dispute between them and the Arabs. Weapons of all kinds, technology, and it's all coming from the West. They give the Jews all this support. And therefore, if an Arab country, and the Arab world is divided into tens of countries, and division, they know, brings weakness. So they're divided into weak states. And yes, they have navies, they have armies, they have tanks, they have airplanes, all that. But it doesn't seem to be as strong as what the Jews have. It's not because the Jews are the geniuses of the world. They're not. They're just like any other human being. And Allah created all of them. And Allah is the one who decided that there is no difference between the Arabs, the Jews, the blacks, the whites. It's all Allah's creation. They're not a superpower, as many Arabs and Muslims are repeating, promoting, until it became like a fact. They're not the geniuses that they and many Arabs and Muslims are making them out to be. All that they have came from the West. Their life literally is in the hands of the West. Without the West, they will have no money, no men and women, no support throughout the world, no weapons, and no intelligence. So they rely on the West. It's not the other way around. The West doesn't need Israel. Israel really, really needs the West to live. Therefore, any Arab country that might get into conflict with the Jews, they understand quickly that they're not fighting the Jews alone, they're fighting the entire West and many other areas other than the West. They fanatically support the Jews, and it's strange. But what's even more strange is for people to not understand this fact that the Jews without the West will literally be very quickly understanding that they can't win the struggle against the Arabs and Muslims. They will understand that. They know that. You see, for a superpower to only be able to use the weapons they have for a few weeks and then again go to the West to beg them for more money, support, and weapons, then it's not a superpower. Yes, they have factories, they do things, manufacture things, but these are Western things with Western permission to manufacture the technology. The weapons they have came from the West. The shells for their tanks, the missiles for their airplanes came from the West. And they quickly realized that they need the West to survive. So, a superpower, Gaza doesn't have weapons, except for those Iranian missiles that you shoot in there, it goes there. And that's it. I mean, that's it. As compared to the Jews with every kind of modern weapons of mass destruction, really, weapons of mass destruction that could kill a lot of people. And it all came from the West. The support is from the West. So the West controls Israel. So all these weapons and all this support, all this technology, all this intelligence, Gaza is 5 miles by 25 miles. That's it. 2 million people. And a few days after they start the latest war, they started against Gaza, they start begging the West, especially America, for more money and support. So here is a question. Where is all the money that the Jews are getting from the West, especially from America? All these tens and tens of billions of dollars. What happened to the money? All these weapons, hundreds of airplanes, thousands of tanks, and all this, technology that they transferred to the Jews, what happened to it? Where is the money? Where is the money? Where are the weapons? How come you have all this and within a few days fight in Gaza that literally doesn't have weapons, the people, and the fighters there, no matter how many weapons they have, how much they have in terms of weapons, it's not even a fraction of 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 what the Jews have. It's unbelievable that people think that the Jews are a superpower. How come you again beg the American president for support and help? 1973, when the war against the Jews was started by Egypt and Syria, quickly Golda Meir, Palestinian? No. Israeli? We don't know if she's even Israeli. A Jew? Yeah. From Ukraine. That's where she came from. She called President Nixon, Mr. President, if you don't support us, Israel will no longer exist. And he did support. he did support Israel with everything they have, all the way until this latest war in Gaza. It's the same thing. After a few days, they called the American president and call on the American president, we need more money, we need more support. And nobody here in America seems to ask them, what happened to all the money we gave you? All these weapons you have, and you still need us to send you more and more and more and more without end? Huh. The Jews know that they need to beg for weapons and money. The Arabs claim that they just issued a command and then the money and weapons come their way. Still, the money is not their money, it's coming from the West, from the taxes people pay to the governments of the West, while the governments of the West give a blank check to the Jews from their money without their permission, without their agreement whatsoever. The weapons are manufactured in the West, and whatever is manufactured in Israel is by permission, by contract with the companies of the West. So all of these people, they know, the Western people, the authorities in the West, Israel, the authorities in Israel know that Israel is not a superpower. It's a little power. However, they gave the Jews the tools to be stronger than any Arab country. And therefore, somebody might think that, look at these Arabs, don't look at these Arabs. Yeah, they have big land. They're divided and weak. Look at the Jews, but look at the West behind them. With all their power, money, support. I mean, how many times should I say it? The money is from the West. Weapons from the West. Men and women from the West, especially the women of Brooklyn. The most fanatical, vicious, brutal people against the Palestinians in the West Bank. So it's not about Israel. If somebody is thinking that the Jews must be a superpower, they're mistaken. A superpower does not beg after a few days only, hey, we're out of missiles to kill those civilians. We're out of shells for our tanks and for our guns to kill these civilians in Gaza. Give us more, more, and more. And then the West is saying, take more, more, more. They want to keep the Jews engaged in an endless war. That's what the West wants to do. It is the final solution that they found for the Jews. They oppressed the Jews, killed them throughout the centuries, accusing them of killing their God, Jesus. They accused them of killing their God, so they were killing them, oppressing them. And then Hitler thought of the final solution. Well, it didn't finalize the issue, the matter. Then they said, okay, Jews, go and gather in this little land surrounded by a sea of Arabs and Muslims. Sooner or later, one of you will devastate the other. You see, this is the issue here. And the kind of weapons they're receiving, getting from the West is unbelievable. Give it to any small nation, anywhere, it becomes a superpower in that area. So, please, the Jews are not the geniuses that so many Arabs and Muslims are making them out to be. They know they're not the geniuses. They know they're not a superpower. They beg for money and more money and more money and more support and more support, weapons and more weapons. We don't have enough shells to, devastate Gaza, so we can finish, the question of Gaza completely and permanently. Give us more. And then when they give them more, they ask for more. So the Americans in specific should ask their government, where is the money? You took money by the tens of billions, gave it to the Jews from us without our permission. We didn't vote for that. And you gave them weapons of mass destruction of every type without our support. We didn't vote for that. What happened to the money, to the weapons? I mean, is it possible that a country that has such access to money, men, women, weapons, intelligence, support, is it possible that this country is independent of the countries that give them money, men, women, weapons, support, intelligence? It isn't. But whenever people think about the Jews, they are not as smart as they claim, and as many Arabs and Muslims claim. They're just like any other human being, and they have their weaknesses, they have their strength. Today, their strength is completely established upon the weakness of the Arabs. They're divided, and they like it. They like it, really. They don't want to change it. They like it. And, defending the Palestinians used to be a slogan, and then they dropped even that. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us aware of what's going on in the world. I will never accept the idea that the Jews are a superpower. They're just a little people who established a country on the farms and lands and corpses of so many Arabs. And the Arabs in Palestine were Muslim and Christian. They killed so many of them. They came, stole their land, and then which Arab country can fight the West? This is the real issue here. This is the real issue. No Arab country at this time, because of their division and weakness, especially in their religion, can fight the Jews. So please, don't do that. I mean, just a few days. Again, I say, just a few days. Please give us more money, more weapons. We didn't kill enough, because that's what it means. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help our Muslim brothers and sisters everywhere, especially in Palestine. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.